All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf podcast where top real estate agents tell how they do it. Today, we have the renowned Patrick Lilly from New York City. Patrick, tell us, how did you get into the real estate business, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Renowned or round? Which is it? Which is it?
I'm renowned, but we'll let you make the call on the rest of that.
I could lose a little weight, Jerry. I could lose. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
How's everything down in Buckhead?
Everything in Buckhead is fabulous. It's you know, of course, this is supposed to be live, but then in the real life today, it's rainy today. But
it's raining. It's raining.
Yes. Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
really?
I'm at my house upstate, and I'll go into the city later.
Love it, by the way. Love the background. It's kind of fitting for.
Well, after this, I'm going to the gym, and so to be totally honest, I got my gym shorts on.
Oh no! I love it. And we're not going to edit that out, Isaac.
I just have a good shirt on for you. That's all.
Awesome. So tell us about yourself. Why did you get in it? You are a renowned real estate agent. Just about everybody I know knows who you are if they have anything to do with real estate. And you're in New York. So why and how did you get into the real estate business?
I don't think anybody, unless your parents are real estate brokers, actually dream of becoming a real estate broker when they grow up. You dream of becoming a Supreme Court judge or a fireman or whatever. But yeah. I don't think being in sales is something you dream about. I was getting my MBA from NYU, and I was going to do an internship in advertising. I did an internship in advertising, and I thought I was going to go into advertising. And this was back in 1983. And I went on job interviews, and I was offered two jobs, one at $18,000 a year and one at $23,000 a year. And I was making at least $75,000 a year bartending part-time. And there was no way I was going to work for $18,000 a year.
Just didn't make sense, yeah.
So I didn't know what I was going to do, and a year later, I continued bartending because I did with an MBA. I bartended with an MBA from NYU, and I had lunch with a friend who sold real estate, and he says, "Why don't you come work for us?" And I immediately turned up my nose and said, "I'm not selling apartments. I have an MBA." And then he told me how much money he made, and my nose went right back down into its place. And 3 days later, I was selling real estate.
Wow. All right. So when you got in the real estate business, what was it like for you? Was it a quick start? Were you one of those magic successes first year? Was it a progressive start? Or tell us a little bit about how that went.
I had a good start. I had, I think that first year, I made, and this is again 1984. I think I made about $60,000, which is,
which is a lot of money in 1984. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I had some skills, but I got to tell you, Jerry, my attitude was not the best. I really looked down on real estate. I really thought intellectually it was beneath me, and it took about 12 years before I really started tapping into my potential. And the reason it took 12 years is I always thought I was going to do something else. I thought I'd go into consulting, into some sort of commercial real estate, something that seemed more in line with my degrees.
Go ahead.
And so I had an opportunity to interview with Cushman Wakefield around 12 years. And I had a kind of impressive resume, and they looked at it and they go, "You're not the type of person that we're interested in." And it was like, I've never had anybody say that to me. And I was like, whoa. And that's when I realized, oh, maybe that's not the direction your life's going to take. And maybe you should put the commitment into the job that you're doing and really give it 100% instead of the 60% I was doing. So I was getting by on talent, but not on hard work.
So you changed. So when did that shift for you? It sounds like 12 years in.
Yeah, 12 years in, which is a long time. Think about it. I did it for 12 years, not 100% happy at it. And when that shift came, all of a sudden my numbers started to go way up. So I was averaging in volume then about 20 million a year. And And then, when I got serious about real estate, I eventually got up into the low 100s. Um, so, and that was through a means of just education because I love to learn. So going to conferences, hiring a coach, hiring a couple of coaches, is the things that made the difference.
So, yeah, because I was going to ask, I'm going to get you to elaborate on that. So clearly the first thing that happened was a mind shift. It went from, I'm not settling for this. This is it. This is for me. So I'm going to tap into my talents and abilities and really be the best at this because maybe I'm actually where I'm supposed to be. I think is what your mind. You correct me if I'm wrong. And then the second one was there were things that your state of mind changed, your attitude about it changed, your perspective changed. But what were some of the things? Obviously, you got a coach. But if you could, let's just say one or maybe three things specifically you did that were different from your $20 million career to your $100 million plus career. What were they?
I would say there are several things. First of all, I started looking at my job as a business instead of just selling real estate. So how could I be more effective at the business of real estate? That was one. Number two, I didn't stay in touch with past clients at all for those first 12 years. Not at all. And, I just expected them to call me. There's a lot of arrogance there, isn't there, Jere?
I love it. What was that MBA that did it? That MBA hurt you. That MBA from NYU, man, it really messed you up.
It was, thinking back on it, is really naive, stupid, and arrogant. Oh, God. There are a lot of like 25 and 30-year-olds that are so together. I think back, I don't think I really was. I thought I knew everything, but I don't think I really was.
Oh, it's so funny.
And the other thing was, learning what was effective in other people's markets and then tweaking it to make it work in my market. Because obviously New York's a lot different from Buckhead. That's a lot different from Des Moines, Iowa.
Mm-hmm. So I want to back because I'm still getting in your head. I'm hearing mind shift, but I want some meat here. I want to know, like, did you hire an assistant? Obviously you hired a coach. Did you first of all, the one thing you just said was you started following up with clients you never followed up before. So, I mean, that's actually not a big aha, but it's a value. So, but go ahead.
I didn't even have a database. I think back and I think about all the things that I teach now.
Wow.
I was good at generating leads. I wasn't good on following up with them or staying in touch with them. So things that I did, yes, I hired my first assistant, which was an administrative assistant who helped me do showings. Mm-hmm. I started learning about leverage and how to take other people on, since I was good at generating leads, about having other people take that on in terms of me being able to leverage my leads to them so that they could grow their business and I could get more money and make more sales. In terms of, I'm still not good at reaching out to my past clients. I'm still not, but now we have systems for that where my team helps me do it. And then, I still, I have to make myself do it, but I have to find a way that it's fun for me. So I have to find a way that's fun for me to call my past clients as opposed to doing it because I'm supposed to do it.
Exactly. So what is your favorite CRM, or do you use a CRM, or do you just use spreadsheets? Or
boy, that is such a sore subject right now.
Yeah, for everybody.
No, I'm just hesitant.
Okay.
I'm hesitant about saying, I don't know, should I say the company or not? I was really, really happy with the CRM that I had been using, really, really happy. And then of late, there were glitches in the CRM, and they weren't able to step up to the plate and fix it. And I wasn't even a top priority for them. And I'd been sending them so much business, which was frustrating for me.
Right.
And finally I said, you guys got to give me my money back because I can't deal with this type of service. We're searching for a new CRM and we're not really sure which way to go because none of them are perfect. So if anybody out there listens to this and they know of a really good one, so what I need for my CRM, I don't need workflows in my CRM. We do that through Google Docs. What I do need is I need to be able to coordinate all of my social media, all of my emails that we send through different emails. We have different email accounts, and then so that they can all coordinate, and also to be able to do bulk mail from it. So I can do, 300 emails in time because of some of the organizations that I'm involved with. We're looking at Zoho right now.
Okay.
And Zoho.
Now that's one I haven't heard of.
Well,
Zoho.
the one trouble was ZOHO. The one trouble with Zoho is their customer support sucks. But maybe we can get around that. I don't know.
Okay.
We're meeting on this actual week trying to figure out how to handle this.
Wow. So here's the thing. So to get you to the next level, it was hire an assistant, follow up with your clients, and
create a database.
Create a database, which we're still working. I think everybody's still working on that. Everybody. Every time I ask that question about CRMs, it's such a big question in our business. Nobody has the right answer. I'm in Google Docs right now and just making my own because I can't find one that does what I need it to do either. So hey, because all the CRMs are too slow to get stuff in and out. I can't get a good enough picture of what's going on. So you basically started your business. You got in 12 years. Now, I'd love to talk a little bit about, you have a huge network of real estate agents now, and what you do. You have a podcast, and
Yes.
you have real estate. Is it Rockstar Real Estate, or give us the name of it?
Real Estate Success Rocks.
That's it. Real Estate Success Rocks. Fabulous podcast. Everybody talks to you about your podcast, by the way. And I've been on it. Thank you. We had a great time on there. And you've got a podcast, and you've also got when did that happen? Because I have a feeling that happened kind of around that 12-year mark, or?
Well, after the 12-year mark, then I started thinking, okay, I'm going to take this seriously. What should I be doing, number one? And then I also saw that there were no major national firms except for Sotheby's in Manhattan at the time, and Sotheby's wasn't as strong then as it is now. And Coldwell Banker was opening up a franchise in New York, and I thought, there's a real opportunity here. I think I should look into that. And so I approached that because I had my own 3-person company at that time, and I approached them, and we decided to work together. And when I joined Coldwell Banker, they had national conferences that they were happy to send me to. So I started sending to Coldwell Banker conferences. Then I got involved with some of the groups like CRS and Star Power. And the more I started going to these conferences, I started getting referrals from a lot of agents sending their clients to New York. And then I started speaking a lot at the conferences. That got me more referrals. And so I was able to create a business that was actually broker to broker referral based. By doing things like this with you, people hear me and they go, oh, he's probably a good guy to send my clients to and work with. And those clients tend to be better than your average lead. One, they're being referred by somebody they respect, so their appreciation for you is higher. And 2, they're more likely to go through and actually purchase because they've asked to be referred, as opposed to somebody that may be thinking or not. So a good 35 to 40% of my new business every year is broker to broker referrals. And so when I realized that this was being effective, and then I just made a plan to start speaking more and being more in front of agents, and was creating a bigger network. Star Power Howard Britton's group made me a star back in 2007. That was a really great introduction. That got me to CRS. And then, Howard Britton died, I forget how many years ago, and he sold his business before he died. And it was sold to Alex Sharfin, and the combination wasn't a good mixture. So that went away. And I was really involved in Star Power, and there was this hole for several years. And like those old Mickey Rooney movies where he's a kid, he says, let's put on a play, and they go into the barn and they put on a play. I put on my first conference like that. Let's put on a conference.
I
And let's
love
just
it. And
see.
how? So tell us about it. How'd it go? There's
It
the
was great. It was great. It was we were at the Millennium, the Hilton Millennium in New York, which is right across the street from the World Trade Center. So it was after the World Trade Center bombing. So there was this, big hole in the gang. And the conference room, if you packed everybody in, it was like a long, narrow bowling alley, held 125 people. And I put the word out there. Within 2 months, we'd sold out the 125 seats, and I didn't charge enough, so I was like losing like $17,000 on it. So
wow.
everybody pitched in more money, so I
Oh,
wouldn't.
that's great.
They all pitched in
Yeah.
more money. And then, each year we got better and better at throwing the conference. So I think this was our 5th year. We just did St. Louis at the Four Seasons this summer. And it was, they're getting really good. So like our ratings on our conference are 98.5% say they'll come back a second year.
That's great.
Which is, you can't get a higher rating. And about 90% of the people said that the quality of the conference was either excellent or very good. The rest said it was just good. So we're doing,
that's great.
We're doing a good job. And I think the thing that we do differently, Jerry, is you've been to one of my masterminds.
Yes, I was going to bring, yes.
One of the things that I think we do differently is that, one, we have really content that we move quickly, but we go in deeply. There are some other conferences that move quickly, but they don't go. I feel like it's Reader's Digest version, whereas ours goes into great depth. And the quality of the heart of each of our members, people who really care and like to share and give, I think is superior to every other conference out there.
I agree with you. So I went to your mastermind, and you really gave the agents, you had a way of digging deep in with these agents, and really we got to hear from one another some experiences that were resourceful for. I could have used them on deals that were already done, but now I have them as lessons learned and more solutions on deals to do in the future that we may not have at a typical conference. We may not have ever gotten that deep and gotten that much information out of so many agents in the room. I think we had how many? 30?
20. We had about 28 people there. And
thank you, by the way. That was a special opportunity to be able to do that with you. So,
well,
yeah,
it was great. We're going to do another luxury mastermind next year in Boulder, Colorado, with Jennifer Egbert's going to host it.
Oh, that's worth going to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll let you know when that happens, Jerry, so if you want to come again. But the networking is great, but the content was even better, and we get really, really deep. And being a New Yorker, I'm really good at cutting people off.
Yes, you are.
When they start to go into a story, it's like, all right, stop.
I love the efficiency. So on that, I want to break down a little bit into what, go back into kind of you then and you now. What do you wish you knew when you got into this business that you know now?
I wish I had committed to the job back then the way I'm committed to it now. I wish I was committed to my life back then the way I'm committed to it now. I really was, I really wanted to play a lot, and I played. I played a lot, and I wish I had been better with my finances back then. Again, I had a really let's play attitude, as opposed to, let's really look at my life seriously so that I can reach some of my goals, or at least point myself in a direction to reach my goals. So I think the thing that would be the biggest thing that I would have changed is like, how could I have been more committed to what I was doing at the time, as opposed to, everything came so easy. I didn't have to really work hard, and I would still do decent. And I don't know, that's just not acceptable anymore.
What is that saying about mediocrity is the enemy to excellence? Anyway, there's a quote about it.
I also
Sounds like
think,
it. Yeah.
I also think it's the enemy of happiness.
Interesting.
I think that not really putting your heart and soul into everything that you do results in a less happy life.
We are going to quote that, because that was very well said. Say that again. How did you say, not putting your heart and soul leads to a less happy life?
Yeah.
I mean, that was really well said. I think that's a lot of us don't think about that. People are looking to cope with life you know, as opposed to, and even in real estate, as opposed to getting the best of it? Or did you read? Go ahead. No, you go
Yeah, no,
ahead.
I can remember back in the day, it was like, what is the least amount of work I can do to make this deal go through? That it was my attitude back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now my attitude is, how can I do a really, really good job? How can I just do a really, really good job and try to make each transaction special where I'm thinking of where is the creative aspect of this. So when for me personally, when I'm caught in a routine, a system,
Mm-hmm.
I get bored and my focus diminishes and my curiosity diminishes and my interest and passion goes way down. But when I try to look at each transaction as how can I help them achieve their goals? How can I make this fun for them, make it fun for me? How can I get this sold for the most amount of money as quickly as possible?
Mm-hmm.
When I put that in energy into it, I just have such a better time. So there's a really selfish part of me doing this is that I enjoy my life a lot more when I do that.
Yes, so well. It's so true and so well said. It makes the job a lot more fun when you do a good job. It's like the good book, Good to Great. It talks about doing things with excellence and doing things. It's easier to do things with excellence than to do things halfway because you just continue to create better systems. It's more efficient. It's more fun. And back to your quote about when you put your heart and soul into life, that's when happiness comes and success comes. So this is kind of on the same, but give us an aha, or I almost want to say, what did you said? I want to know the moment it shifted. Everybody kind of has. I don't believe in it was over time. There may have been a series of experiences, but what was your real aha? You mentioned this interview, but was that really it, or what was the moment?
It wasn't even. It was the lack of an interview. I had a friend who worked at Cushman Wakefield. I thought I was a perfect fit for them. They basically got back to me and said, we're not interested in even interviewing you. And it was at that moment, I was such a shock to my system because I've never had that happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a shock to my system and to the direction that I thought I was going to go in. That was the wake up call because I was living a little in la la land
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to being, what's really realistic out here. And, the great thing about shocks to your system is that, and shock to your system could be cancer. A shock to your system could be the death of a loved one. The shock to your system could be a bankruptcy. It could be. Luckily, this was a relatively minor shock. But all of those things, there's an opportunity in those situations, and the opportunity is I get to change how I think about myself and how I approach my life, and that's where paradigm shifts come in, and that truly was a paradigm shift for me.
Wow, paradigm shifts are everything. I think sometimes as agents, our job is to give our clients a paradigm shift so that they can get the perspective they need to get what they want accomplished.
Yeah, so let me give you a good example about that. A client of mine had a townhouse in Tribeca for a little under $5 million, and it had been listed with two other brokers, one really, really successful broker, and neither of them had been able to sell it, probably because it was overpriced. So I took the listing over, and it was overpriced again. And she was reluctant to reduce the price. So what I did was instead of her meeting in my office or me meeting her in her home, I took her out to lunch at a local diner. Actually, it was probably just coffee, just because I wanted her out of her house and out of the emotions that are in her house. And I took her to a diner and we talked. I said, listen, this is just a curiosity session. I just want to talk to you. I said, really, what's most important to you right now? I mean, what if your life could be really good, not talking about real estate, what would it be? She says, well, frankly, the thing that I'm most concerned about is getting my finances in order and creating a college fund for my children, her two children. I said, that's beautiful. And her children were everything to her. I said, that's beautiful. So let's look at that, how that relates to real estate. In terms of what's happening right now is we're not able to make your children and yours dreams come true because we're stuck at a price that's not generating. Is that extra money that you want for this really in your best interest to have your dreams come true? Or are you just locked onto a number that's holding you back from your dreams? And once we went in that direction, she was like, you're right. I need to think about this differently. Let's lower the price. And we sold it within a month then. So that was where you could actually help your client change their mindset. And I think it was an emotional one where I had to take her out of her home and reframe the whole picture differently for her.
Well, it sounds like you put yourself in her shoes for a minute. I
Yeah.
find it's so easy in our industry. I love real estate agents so much. I mean, sometimes I think, do I stay in this business just for, not that obviously I love this business, but a big part of it is the relationships. Meet people like you. I knew Jeff Wilson, who introduced me to you. And, it just goes on and on with all the friendships. But we get on our side of the fence so much as real estate agents on, oh, it's overpriced. Oh, they're not listening. Instead of, well, why? Where are they? Get in their shoes for a minute. And what are they? Because until we can get in their shoes and feel them, we can't speak to them to shift their paradigm in the first place. So that's a beautiful story.
And that's where curiosity is. When curiosity comes into play, when you're curious, you get to really hear the other person without trying to put your goals onto them, and that they feel taken care of when they're really being heard.
I love that. So well said. It's detaching from what you want and getting in their shoes to what they want. So beautifully said. And did you learn that from the beginning, or is that something you how long did it take you? Because I feel like that's a tough one for a lot of agents to figure out.
I would say I've only really gotten into that the last 5 years.
Wow. Yeah. I think I find for agents, that is the biggest, and I've been doing this for 15 years, and as much as I love real estate agents, I have a very clear understanding of why many people don't. And some of it's because we need to get ourselves in those shoes. And when we're the real estate agents that know how to do that, that really makes us shine, which is my next question for you. What do you think it is about you? And I have lots of ideas, but I want to know what you think about what makes you shine, because you definitely are a known name, not only in the real estate community, but in New York and just as a real estate agent overall. What is it about you that gives you your edge or makes you stand out amongst all the competition?
I think I'm extremely curious. I always want to learn and grow and become more than I currently am. Personal growth is as important to me as professional growth. And in fact, I can't separate the two. To me, they're the same. So curiosity is one. I think I'm kind of fun to be around. So I think that's,
you are.
so
right.
I think people enjoy working with me.
There's a reason why so many people are around you all the time. So
yes.
You're likable.
And I think push comes to shove, my heart is in a really good place. And that comes through and makes people feel comfortable with me. Plus, I'm excessively confident, which also makes people feel comfortable, too.
Exactly. Well, an agent said the other day to me, he said, it was Jason O'Neill, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm embarrassed.
He said he's in Indianapolis.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he said, buyer agents buy houses, listing agents buy confidence, commitment, and probably caring. Have you heard him say that? But it was great. But it's exactly to what you just said.
True.
So how do you know Jason?
Through my, he's been to my conferences several times. He's a good guy.
Okay, great. And I know him through Jeff, just like I know you. So
I bet you Jason met Jeff through me. I bet. I could be wrong at my conference.
Maybe.
I think. Yeah.
I bet he did. So what are you most proud of in your career, in your real estate career as an agent?
That's not something I normally look at. What am I most proud of? I would say I'm most proud of who I have become. I've won lots and lots of awards, and those are nice. Don't get me wrong. Those really are nice, but they really don't mean anything. They really don't. I think I'm really proud of the person who I have become and how that interacts with clients and other real estate brokers. That brings a lot of meaning to me.
And what are you most excited about your business moving forward?
You know, it's funny because I find that business is cyclical, and and passion is cyclical. And there was a period for the last couple of years where my numbers were going down. And the reason they were going down was I was really having a hard time trying to figure out, okay, so I broke up the 100 million mark for a couple of years in a row. Now what? Do I need to set the $150 million mark? Do I set the $200 million mark and close sales? This is ridiculous. This doesn't mean anything. This is
Right.
why am I going after this arbitrary number? So I went through this period of trying to find out of, okay, who are you, Patrick? Who are you really? What has meaning to you? And then how do we figure out, and then who are the people you want on your team to surround you that are like-minded, that can help you go in the same direction? And then how do you redefine success?
Mm-hmm.
So as we were talking about earlier, so before success to me meant number of closed transactions and volume amount. Success now means, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Am I doing a good job? Am I helping people achieve their goals? Am I making a difference in their lives? And when the answer to those questions are yes, specifically, am I happy at what I'm doing? That's success for me now. And it's interesting, my numbers are going back up again because I found where real passion lies.
Well, people are drawn to that. People are attracted to that. And when they sense that about you, they can't get enough of it. So it's huge. Yeah.
And you get rid of the crappy ass, excuse me,
podcast.
Go
for it. It's not the radio. You can say whatever you want.
You get rid of the crappy ass clients who are a pain in your butt, and you get people who are more aligned who have similar values for clients.
And then you get more and more of those. The more, the more you love what you do, the more those are the kinds of people you attract anyway. And the more people you attract like that, the more it's the compound effect, basically. Which there's a book called that. And on that, what book would you recommend?
Oh, by far, for me, the Bible of real estate is The $1 Million Agent by Gary Keller. It shows you how to grow your team from a single agent up to eventually selling your business.
Now, so have you modeled your real estate team after that book?
I would say that I helped to tweak it. I naturally, the progressions that went along in the book, I naturally was going in that direction, but it helped to give me focus and clarity. Mm-hmm. And if I would recommend anybody to read it because it gives you really good clarity. I've gotten to the point where my business is not sellable because it's still too much about me and not about a business. I'm not sure that I want to actually get to that direction because I'm not really interested in creating systems really deep systems that work on themselves. That's just not who I am, and it's not what I want to do. But we did a mastermind in Florida for people who want to transition out of real estate. One of the things that came clear to me from that mastermind is there's multiple models. The most profitable one is to take yourself out of the business and you can still generate lots of leads. That's the most profitable one. That's not the way mine's going to go. I suspect mine's going to go into the referral format, whereas clients, if I ever want to get out of the business, which I don't right now, then I would start referring them out for 25% referrals. That being said, I can't ever imagine. I just don't understand the idea of retiring. I don't get it. I don't, maybe because I'm single still at 61.
I'm with you. Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's nice to be able to, but I can't understand what. I guess you would travel. That would be fun. But
I already travel. I've
right,
been to
exactly.
Countries.
And it's kind of fun when you travel and you meet friends and you have such a synergy with them because of what you do. Like the level of friendship and relationship you can have with somebody because of business is so much deeper and so much more fun. And tell me if you agree than if you weren't. Than if you were comparing flavors of coffee, for example, which I know some people are passionate about that, but anyway.
Yeah.
If that's what you do for a living, maybe. But yeah, whatever. I'm digging a hole for myself, but go ahead.
No, I agree. And it makes me feel so sad when I hear people saying that they can't wait till they retire. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how many years have you been working at a job that you hate? Yeah. That's what it makes me really sad. And I think, wow, these are choices you made. Are there any other choices you could make so that there's more happiness? I mean, how much time do we spend at work? We spend a lot of time at work. Why can't you be happy at work? Why are you doing things that are making you unhappy that you want to retire from? I don't get it.
Well, and tell me this, and I think you learned this in your business, but that's what I love about real estate. Our business gives us the ability to leverage our talents. We can leverage what we're not good at and build a team to support what we're not good at, and then we can take what we're the best at and be the best at it and win business and attract business because of it, as opposed to so many of these training programs out there. I have a kind of, a chip on my shoulder about it, but there's so much out there about chasing down business. And if you just make enough phone calls and you just stalk enough people, you'll get business. And maybe you will, but it won't be good business, and it won't be good clients, and it will not be an upper tier luxury business.
So it's interesting. It's interesting you say that, Jere, because I did I hold 4 masterminds a year, and we did one on referrals, and we did it out in Fayetteville, Arkansas, at the McNaughtons, and Michael Mayer was there, and he was gracious to come to that for free. And they're talking about stories about, generating referral business. And I start talking to people and said, yeah, I know this lovely broker from Buckhead. And I started telling you about how the lunches that you do to generate referrals. And I thought it's the most, one of the most, and I tell my team about it. I make them all listen.
Thank you. I love it.
I made them all listen to your episode. I figured out, okay, if you don't want to do lunch, what can you do like Jerry's doing in order to have fun and to generate business?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, it's just positioning yourself. It's positioning yourself so people know you and the right people know you when the opportunities come up and the referrals come in. It's great.
Yeah, but you make it fun. You make it fun for the people that are attending and for you.
Exactly. It's got to be fun. If it's not fun, we'll make it easy by making it fun. Austin Landers in my office says that. He's a 25-year-old agent doing more business than anybody his age in Atlanta's ever done, literally, and that's his big motto, and I live by it too. I love it. But so Patrick, I want to know what we were talking a little bit about the book and the Gary Keller book. Give us a quick rundown on how you've structured your team.
It's changed recently. The first hires were admin and showers for me that could do both. And then as I really started to grow my business, I was generating a lot of leads. I would take on really good agents who were already experienced. And I wouldn't have buyer's agents or listing agents. They could do, in luxury market, I don't think that's as effective. I think you want a higher quality agent that could do both list and buy, in my personal opinion. And I took on several of them, and I would generate a good chunk of their leads, and then I would get a nice cut out of that for the deal. At some point recently, I've changed the structure of the team now so that I'm more admin heavy and less agent heavy. And what I'm doing is I'm paying 2 agents full time to be doing both admin and showing my properties. Instead of assigning a listing to one of an agent who gets a cut, they get no cut on my deals, but they get a salary. They're really happy with that, but my profitability goes way up when I'm doing them on salary versus a commission cut.
And they get stability, which is what a lot of people want when they're in this. That keeps a lot of people out of this business. So interesting. I love to hear about everybody's team. Everybody's got such a different way of doing it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I really think that that's something that if you look at your profitability, you may want to change your structure in that having more people on salary might increase your overall income dramatically. It has for mine.
Wow, interesting. All right, so, and then I want to ask you, tell us about, I want to know 2 things. I want to know about your podcast and your conferences, and I also, before we do that, I want to know what from our conversation so far, and then I want you to tell us about that stuff. What is the one message you've got? We've hit on so many things, from teams to ahas to mindset. What is the one thing you would want somebody listening to our interview to really take from this?
This is a bit of a cliche, but it means something very deep to me, is find out why you're doing what you're doing. It makes the doing a lot easier and better. Mm-hmm. So what's your big why? And then associate your activities with the big why. And we talked about why in the last 5 years, my income went down and now it's going back up, because it's really clear about what motivates me these days versus what used to motivate me. And your motivation can change throughout your career. When you're in your 30s, you may have one motivation, and when you're in your 60s, you may have another motivation. And and it's good to change your motivation and be conscious of it. So what's your big why?
What's my big why?
Yes.
What's your big why? You're being interviewed. Don't ask me my big why.
Well,
I got a couple of big whys, but you want me to tell you what mine is?
Yeah.
I've got two. Mine is I have this deep passion to help other people be the best version of themselves. So I can only do that to a certain level with my clients, but I can still certainly go there and develop that relationship with them. But more than that, in my success in my career, which is part of what created this podcast, was it gave me a way to do that for other agents and to grow myself by meeting other people. My real big why is my family and my kids.
Awesome.
So what's yours?
Like I said earlier before, where I'm finding passion now is
right.
when I'm living a life where I'm putting 100% into what I do, when I'm curious, when I am passionate, when I'm not into systematizing things. I'm trying to find out what's unique to help people achieve their goals, and so that they can move their lives forward. That brings real meaning to me, and that I enjoy immensely.
Okay, I agree with you, which I love this interview because I knew I liked you, but just doing this makes me realize how much I like you and how much we have in common, just in a lot of ways you've answered this and your thoughts about the business and everything. So tell us about your conferences, your next conference, and your podcast.
So my next conference will be at the Four Seasons in Baltimore, right on the harbor, at the end of September 2018. It's a beautiful hotel. It's a great location. There's a lot of fun things to do there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I grew up in Baltimore, so I get to introduce everybody to my hometown, which I'm looking forward to. We have a podcast called Real Estate Success Rocks. It's realestatesuccess.rocks is where you can find both the podcast and the conference. And both of those, the podcast is weekly, where I interview people that airs on Tuesdays, and it's very content oriented. So we'll pick one specific topic and talk about it for 30 minutes. Going back to the conference real quick, if you register before the end of January, you'll get $100 off of registration. And
great.
And then lastly, I have a networking group called Rev, which is realestate.vision, which is the URL. And that's which runs the masterminds, which you were invited to. And that's for higher producing agents who want to do much more. They want to be able to work together to grow their businesses and become more of who they want to be. And a lot of networking, a lot of referrals through that. And that's the group that really feeds my podcast, that feeds the speakers at the conference. You know, one of the things I feel like is so special about the people that speak at our conferences, they're not paid. I don't pay them to speak. I don't pay they have to pay for their conference to speak. They have to pay to come speak at my conference for their hotel room, their registration, just like any other attendee. And the reason that's special is the type of person who's willing to do that is the type of person who wants to share and be part of something bigger and to give back and to have that connection with other people. They're not going in there trying to be a diva, look at me, how fabulous I am. They're trying to say that, look, we're all somewhere on this road together. Let's help each other and support each other. And if I was going to say the one reason that we have heart over the other conferences, is because my attendees are all like that.
Well said. Yep.
Oh, I sound like a preacher sometimes.
No, it's true. I'm into it. I'm with you. It's great. Well, Patrick, it's been great having you. Thank you so much. Let us know your phone number and website, and we'll close it out.
So if real estate stuff is conference and podcast is realestatesuccess.rocks. My real estate site is patricklillyteam.com. And if you want to know about everything that I offer, I have an umbrella site called patricklilly.com.
Great. Thank you so much. Great having you.